Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So we're going to begin here because everything seems to be going our way. This article right here is titled Investment Banks Fully Focused on Integrating Distributed Ledger Technologies. I told you, we're going to absorb, I want to say absorb all of them. I really do. I believe we're going to take a huge swath of them, but let's read this little tidbit here. It says global investment banks, global, not just US, all around the world. This is huge. Global investment banks have set their sights on the effective integration of distributed ledger technology as their technology priority over the next 3 years, according to new research from SIX. The 2023 Annual Future of Finance report from SIX canvassed the views of 343 C-suite executives, 343, my apologies, at financial institutions, including asset managers, wealth managers, investment banks, and asset servicers. These institutions geographically span the UK, Germany, Switzerland, Spain, the US, Hong Kong, and Singapore. Listen, and this is why you've heard so many representatives from Ripple say, hey, we've been working hard going after the banks, right? So now let's continue. This is almost half, 45% of investment banks surveyed selected the integration of distributed ledger technology / blockchain as their primary technology over the next 3 years. And when all of these banks flip the switch, what do you think that's going to do to the price? You tell me. They're telling you it's their priority. This is huge money. And who's at the top of that list? XRP, XLM, Quant, Algorand, you know, the usual suspects. What happens then when they flip the switch? Once again, they said this is their priority. Let's keep going. Which, by the way, please smash that like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, join the family, become a family member over here as we are on our march to 100K subscribers, no matter how hard we have to work. And we've been working hard, folks, putting out quality content after quality content. No matter how hard we have to work, how far we have to go, we're going to make it to 100K subscribers by the sweat of our brow, like we always do. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and tell all your people to subscribe to the channel. Now let's keep going because there's a lot today. We got some XLM news as well. That's going to lead us to the members only video I'm going to drop, which, by the way, I found something. If you're not in that members only section and you love Stellar, you want to be present for this one. Oh, yes, you do. I found something, and I don't say that often, do I? No, I don't. Let's keep going here. Which, by the way, people ask me, how do you join the members only section? There should be a join button somewhere around this video. You click that join and it gives you the different options. OK, it says here, this placed just behind their top answer of integration and provision of solutions, data through APIs. Does that sound familiar? In stark contrast to the asset management community, who saw data analytics for value capture as the key priority. Meanwhile, over a third of investment banks see the expansion into alternative asset classes. What's that? Oh, flood of capital is coming. No one can deny it anymore. This is why all these people are getting so bullish on XRP out of nowhere. I saw another Bitcoin maxi come out and say, hey, I love XRP. I'm long in XRP. Everybody knows this is going to be a moneymaker. We're the only ones who have clarity. But we'll see in the future. I mean, nobody has a crystal ball. Everybody can have their own opinions. It says here, it says alternative asset classes, specifically digital assets. Yeah, that flood, that tsunami is coming. People can't, no matter how long it takes, it doesn't matter how many people want to deny it, it will not change the truth. It cannot change the future. It says private markets and infrastructure projects as the biggest enabler for their organization's growth over the next 3 years. This was a view shared by the asset management community, with 41% citing it the second most common answer from both groups after the implementation of AI and machine learning use cases, which we have machine learning and we will be heavily utilizing artificial intelligence Everything's going to come together. Take a little bit of time, in my humble opinion, but it's been coming together beautifully so far. So now let's move on here, because this is very interesting. This article here. This article is titled "Our Gray Swan Predictions." Gray Swan for 2024. Gensler steps down. I've heard some things, and let me tell you something. Gensler stepping down is a great thing. One, but there's a balance to everything. Just know that night, day, left, right, up, down, bad and good. There's a balance to everything, folks. Outflow and inflow to everything has its rhythm. And so I have also read that if Gensler steps down, he's looking at trying to take the top position in the U.S. Treasury. So although it's great him to get out of that SEC, and then, digital assets can soar, thrive. This, no disrespect, but this uncouth, insane individual being the head of the U.S. Treasury, that's a bigger problem than anything. And we heard that from Cathie Wood of ARK Invest. So obviously she's privy to some information that the rest of us are not. She has the best of the best advisors. So that's a huge possibility. So I'm looking at it both ways, a positive and it could be a negative. But let's, if it happens, but let's read this little bit here. It says, the one certainty in markets is that there is no certainty. It's why we have an annual tradition of trying to predict the biggest shocks for the year ahead. We call them gray swans, close cousins to black swans. That is, high impact events that no one expects. Bitcoin roaring back as an asset class for institutional investors and reaching all-time highs. In price could be one of the biggest gray swans of 2024. And I think it definitely is going to happen as the institutions are taking over Bitcoin. Right? It says here, after all, many have given up on crypto markets thanks to the various shocks the industry has faced, from the Terra Luna crash to the collapse of FTX. Then it says here, will SEC Chair Gensler step down? It says, as the 2024 U.S. presidential election draws near, the potential for political shifts, I don't know what that has to do with the SEC, but let's skip that little part. It says, okay, so that could affect who's the head of the SEC. All right, I see. I should have known that. I know. Shame on me. It says, on the other side, there's growing discontent among Democrats regarding the pace at which SEC Chair Gensler is advancing the agency's redacted proposal. All right, so nobody's pleased with Gensler. That's interesting. So both sides are very, very upset with Gensler. That's actually hilarious to me. Whatever. I just want him to get out of the way. Gensler's tenure at the SEC has been marked by his cautious stance and stringent regulatory oversight of cryptocurrencies. His approach has significantly influenced the SEC's policies in this sector. However, a change in leadership, whether due to Gensler stepping down or being replaced, might signal a shift towards a more cryptocurrency-friendly regulatory environment. Historically, such regulatory changes have had a substantial impact on the cryptocurrency market. Gensler's departure could herald a new phase of acceptance and expansion for Bitcoin, and by that they mean crypto. Furthermore, the SEC's position, because Bitcoin is not under any type of attack as of right now. There's a little bit of FUD in there, probably a good amount of FUD, but it's not under attack like how XRP was or other digital assets are currently, right? So they would benefit the most from Gensler stepping down. But that's interesting. Should Gensler be succeeded by a leader more open to cryptocurrencies, it could set a precedent that influences international regulatory trends. So listen, I hope something positive happens. I hope that this individual steps down, and maybe we can get somebody in there who's better. Now, moving on here, we have more big news before we get to the XLM news at the final chapter here. This article is titled Circle Coinbase receive French regulatory approvals, which this is sort of Stellar related, because they all are very closely related. Circle, the USDC stablecoin, mostly used on Stellar. Coinbase being partners with Circle, also pushing USDC. So they're all connected. And then you don't want to forget, put BlackRock in there. They're sort of all huddled together. Coinbase is now registered as a virtual asset service provider in France, while Circle has obtained a conditional registration in the country. French regulatory authorities are granting approvals to foreign cryptocurrency firms as 2023 draws to a close, awarding licenses for crypto exchange Coinbase and stablecoin issuer Circle on December the 21st. Coinbase has reportedly obtained the virtual asset service provider VASP authorization from France's financial regulator. It says having a VASP registration ensures that a company is compliant with the European Union and international regulations. With the license, Coinbase can custody digital assets and offer and facilitate crypto trading in the country. In addition, the exchange recently announced crypto trading services for institutional foreign investors via its international arm. Meanwhile, Circle received a conditional registration as a digital asset service provider subject to certain restrictions. So this is very good progress. Very good. All right. So now moving on here to a little bit of bank news. I love to hear that the banks are suffering. I love to hear that the banks are doing very, very badly because then we make a lot of money off them. All right. So I get a little happy when I read these types of things. This article here is titled Banks Facing $160 billion in Losses on Commercial Real Estate Loans. Yeah, they're going down every little bit that, where I read that they haven't resolved this issue. They can't resolve this issue. The apartment idea, turning commercial real estate into apartments, failed, as I told you it would. No one, first of all, it will take a heck of a lot to turn those into suitable apartments. That's number one. So they're losing money on that in and of itself. Number two, there is no one to buy these expensive apartments. These people out here, listen, despite all the lies that are told, and that's exactly how I feel about it when they're reporting economic information and saying everything's okay, everything's good. When I'm reading article after article where people can't find jobs, they can't get jobs, they're going to multiple interviews and things like that. And these are the people who are coming straight out of college, which is very important. You have to have them as a base layer to your economy. And they're saying, hey, listen, we can't get jobs. I read that there's one individual and had a very good degree, that this one individual, it took them 7 months to get a proper job. That's ridiculous. Then on top of that, skyrocketing energy and food prices, right? I continue to read articles and see videos as well about the exorbitant amount of capital that that a lot of individuals have to spend just to acquire a reasonable amount of food. So there's that as well. So people don't have money to waste on these super expensive apartments, which is why we read articles before here on the channel where they were reporting these top analytics people, where more and more people are both living together with their family members. There are children, even older children, moving back home with their parents. Everybody's kind of pitching in together across the United States as of right now. A great amount of people are doing that. So once again, they don't have money for, buying these expensive apartments and sort of getting the banks out of trouble. No, so that has not worked, right? So they're going down sooner rather than later. But let's read this a little bit here. It says banks are, and when they go down, they will be forced to more rapidly adopt the new financial system. That's what's important to me. Banks are sitting on as much as $160 billion in losses on loans to the commercial real estate market as they brace for a wave of defaults from landlords in the year ahead, according to the report. There is currently a 10% to 20% default rate on commercial real estate loans, equivalent to between $80 billion and $160 billion in bank losses. Okay, let me pause there. I want to put this a little bit in there also, although it's a little bit different than this topic here, but it's about defaults. The United States as a whole is in a very, very bad and difficult financial position. And a lot of the media is not reporting on it. What they're saying is the opposite. Oh, everything's looking great. But did you see how many people couldn't pay their student loans, or rather didn't pay their student loans? It was ridiculous. All those articles have been coming out lately. So it just tells me that what the data I've been reading, which is from real economists, is true, that the people are in a harsh financial state. The M2 money charts showed that they didn't have money in their checking accounts. Not a lot. That a lot of people didn't have a lot of money in their savings accounts. And that also we read more data from real economists. I have to say that because the mainstream media are not real economists. Sometimes what they report is completely and utterly fabricated. I'll just say it that way. But from real economists, they were saying that the people had were maxing out their credit cards. This was around September or October, around that time. You could pull up all those articles on your own. So if that's a reality, if that's the truth, then it makes sense that they couldn't afford to pay these student loans that are coming due now, which obviously there's a lot of responsibility on their part, but there's also a lot of responsibility on others' parts. I mean, look, just overall, things have to get a little bit better, in my humble opinion. But it lends credence towards that idea that there is a massive possibility of a collapse coming, an implosion of sorts coming that would force them to implement the new financial system. I just don't see how this financial ship that is the United States continues on the way that it has been. I just don't see it. The new financial system will have to be, the life preserver, the reset that they need. I mean, let's move on from here. I want to get to this stellar article. Okay. So now this Stellar, I'm telling you right now, this company Stellar, from what I'm seeing, they're onto something huge. They're playing a long game, a quiet game. You already know that. I'm preaching to the choir, I believe. This blog here on stellar.org, right, is titled, this is one of those tech talks with Tomer. Watch this guy. Watch this guy. This guy is hungry to be the best of the best of the best. Everything that this guy's been doing, especially with stuff like Soroban, this is a serious individual who does not want to take second place, which means that everything that he does, and obviously this is in correlation with what he's doing with Stellar, has to be the absolute best. But why? Who knows? This article is titled Securing Smart Contracts and DeFi's Future. I believe I know. He wants to be legendary. He wants to live forever. He wants his blockchain that he's working on to be the best of the best of the best. And he can't sleep at night unless it is. That's why Soroban, they worked so hard on Soroban. But let's read this little bit here. It says, in December of 2023, decentralized finance protocols total value locked reached $50 billion. Weren't we just talking about that the other day? We just did a video yesterday. If you didn't see that video yesterday, XRP XLM video, we were talking about the total assets that have been tokenized on Stellar are outstanding and where it's leading to. And I mean, check that video out if you haven't watched it already. It was a very good video. In my humble opinion, let's keep going on because this is leading somewhere, folks. There's a reason they're talking about this all the time. Tokenization, the assets that are on Stellar, it being number one or fluctuating between number one and number two. Why are all the big companies choosing Stellar? Are you witnessing this? But let's keep going. Let's keep going. I'm going to show you. It says that's a lot of money, $50 billion. That's a lot of money, which is why the security of smart contracts continues to be a hotly followed topic. Wait, they're talking about security again with smart contracts. Who else was recently talking about that? Who do they have a relationship with that was talking about security so much? Who wants to dive in head first? Let's go here. It says enter Muli Sagiv and Certora, a smart contract security and audit company specializing in formal verification. You see, this is where that being the best comes in. Why? Because they have to work with the biggest companies in the world. If you think that Franklin Templeton and Wisdom Tree are it, I beg to differ. I think that what Stellar announces in the future is going to be mind-blowing. But in order to get there, in order to continue to land those big deals, in order to continue to curry the faith of these astronomically powerful companies that will flood Stellar with capital, in my humble opinion, but also will help them see out their mission to bank the unbanked. See, Stellar is smart. They're trying to win on all fronts. They're playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers. You see that? So they have all of these different wallets to bank the unbanked, which they will have a lot more in the future, in my humble opinion. But they're also pulling down the powers, bringing them in because they know this is how you fulfill your mission. But this is also how you bring in the big money, right? For a variety of different reasons. But it says here, Muli Sagiv describes the evolution of formal verification from an obscure academic pursuit to a cornerstone in fortifying smart contracts. He delves deep into the complexities of securing compact code, why formal verification is a perfect match in the future of smart contracts beyond the Ethereum virtual machine. Now that should tell you a lot beyond it. Wait, let's make a connection here. I'm going to show you. So Stellar is talking about security the last few weeks, tokenization. Guess who was talking about security, tokenization as well recently? The Bank for International Settlements. You have to ask yourself, who is Stellar trying to please? This is in a post on BIS.org, the Bank for International Settlements website. It's titled Securing the Future Monetary System. The future monetary system. What is that? Wait a minute. What is that? That sounds a lot like the new financial system. But wait, it says this: cybersecurity for central bank digital currencies. This was on November 8th and 9th, 2023. So it was recent, around the same times that Stellar has been showing off their security. Oh, we're coming out with Soroban. We're so secure. We have the most assets tokenized, the most value of assets tokenized on our chain. And I think it flips sometimes. It's like Stellar. There's like a top three, like Stellar, Ethereum, and something else. But this is all during that same time. It says here, as central banks explore the possibilities of issuing CBDCs, cybersecurity is emerging as a paramount concern. The CBDC ecosystem adds new attack surfaces and risks to an already complex cybersecurity landscape for central banks. The ability to manage these risks effectively is a key factor for ensuring the robustness, resilience, and adoption of CBDC systems. Do you see a connection here? For the first time, the BIS is hosting a conference on safeguarding CBDC and strengthening cyber defenses. Wait a minute. You know what? I was going to say something. Some of you already know where I was going to go. Stellar doesn't need to show them. But why doesn't Stellar need to show them? Why doesn't Stellar need to show them? Oh, wait. Let's not get it wrong. They don't need to show them here. Let me clarify that at this conference. But why? We're going to leave off there for today, folks. I'm going to begin right now recording that members only video because I found something. So I'll see you over there. So now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.